Ira Tillman and Ira Tillman Show. I'm with Aaron Braxton, author, writer, actor. You have a new project coming. It's Jesse and the caterpillar who got its wings. Jesse and the caterpillar who got its wings. Sound like a little Ebonics coming from me. What is Jesse about?
Jesse and the Caterpillar Who Got Its Wings. I'm really excited about this project because it's about a fifth grade kid who's really awkward but highly intelligent, but just doesn't have the social skills to make friends. And so what he does is he uses the metamorphosis of these caterpillars into butterflies in order to, as a metaphor for his own life and relationships and how to go about change and transformation and in his attempt to be more social and make friends with people.
How does that metamorphosis concept or the change from caterpillar to butterfly, how did that get implanted into Jesse's head?
Well, it's really interesting because most kids don't understand that. Well, actually, humans, we don't understand that metamorphosis, that change, and it's really like quite extraordinary when you think about it. When you think about this one creature that crawls around on hundreds of legs, that looks like a worm. That some have antennas, some don't, but it has this crinkly, rough, spongy skin, and all of a sudden it decides somehow to spin something around itself and then melt into this liquid substance and become a totally different creature. A totally different creature. And so Jesse, who looks at this and goes, hey, if this creature, it had to have it in them, it had to have, that butterfly has to be in its DNA. It has to be there somewhere. And if it can transform, if it can become something, and it's not about becoming something completely different, because we look at the physicality of a butterfly and go, it's completely different, but it's the same creature. It just looks different. So, and not to say that one's more beautiful than the other. They're both, but look, butterfly is one of the most beautiful animals on the face of the planet. I mean, look, a caterpillar, a butterfly, it is, but it's really, he looks at this and says, okay, you know what, if this can happen, if this one creature can evolve and change and transform, and fly. That's and we can look at this two ways. We can look at the literal context of flying, but we could also not look so literal at this thing of taking flight. If this creature can do that, then why can't I? And yeah, so that's how he views that.
I want to get into some of the juicy stuff about Hollywood. We talked off camera about some of the today's happenings with Hollywood, and there's a lot of controversy. I want to know, and exclude yourself, but I want to know, who do you think are the up-and-coming black male actors, lead actors or potential lead actors that are out there that are showing us some of their potential to be the next Denzel Washington or Sidney Poitier?
Wow. I'm not excluding Aaron Braxton. Not excluding. I've been on my grind for a long time, But you look, there's a lot of African American actors out there that are hitting it out the ballpark, and like in this interview right now, I'm like, God, I can't think of the names, but the brother who just won an Oscar, Mahershala is like phenomenal. He was in the movie Moonlight. Moonlight. He's in and the one with Taraji P Henson and the movie with where they were the three astronaut and the mathematicians, and which is a beautiful film. But and he's a phenomenal actor that still, I don't think at this point still gets his. I'm waiting to see what he's gonna do next as far as the choices that he makes from winning this Oscar, because he's just an extraordinary actor. The guy that was in Get Out, the one that plays, he's on Atlanta. I forgot his name, but that brother is extraordinary. He's extraordinary. So is the other guy that's on Atlanta. The lead actor who won the Emmy, and I'm forgetting these guys' names, but those three that I see right now, and including Aaron Braxton in that.
Of course, include Aaron Braxton. Do not forget him. One question, though, while we're in Hollywood. There's a little controversy about the scripts going around. The slave movies and the cocaine movies. Mm-hmm. I advocate more historical productions. Maybe The Life of Sammy Davis Jr., maybe Sam Cooke, maybe Red Fox. There's been some interesting lives led that are universal and appealing. They won't get to those. They're not pushing those productions. Why are we so interested in slavery and cocaine wars?
Okay. See, I have an interesting take on that. And my take is, like, I don't mind a slave movie. I think 12 Years a Slave was, I can't cuss on your show, was phenomenal. That 12 Years a Slave, the Birth of a Nation, oh my God, that movie. And if we really understood the politics behind that film, and why that film was so important to African Americans, and yet it was really literally killed by an industry that wanted to keep us in the dark regarding our history and regarding brainwashing when it comes to religion and things like that. But that movie to me was one of the most important films of the last decade. This is the thing. When you think of the Holocaust, the Jewish community will put a movie regarding the Holocaust in the theaters, one or two every single year. Why? Because they think it's important for their community to understand the tragedies of the Holocaust and what it took for their community to overcome that. The unfortunate thing is we don't know enough about our history. We get little tidbits here and there in school, but we don't understand the struggles that it took for our community to be enslaved, so that we go as a modern society of African Americans, we go, well, if I was a slave, I wouldn't have done blah, 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 blah. If I was there, I wouldn't have done. Well, you don't understand that within this structure, you had a man, if they weren't separated from their family, they were there with their mama, their daddy, their aunts and uncles and cousins and grandparents. You couldn't escape. There was reasons why people stayed. But the most important thing is that the inspiration that it really should give us, if we look at it that way, we were slaves in this country. We were sold by African tribes who may not have known that there was this lifetime generational thing going on. But when you think of the fact that 200, 300 years ago, we were owned by by a segment of our society. And yet those people had dreams and hopes, and they struggled and they plotted and they dreamed of someday being treated equal. And it's off the backs of those people, their blood, sweat, tears, that we stand, that we're able to sit here and do this interview, that we need to show those films. We need our young people to see that. And we not from a sense of shame. Oh, well, why you got to show that we're slave when we were slave? Why you got to go? No, from a sense of admiration, a sense of inspiration, because off of the backs in blood, sweat, tears, dreams, struggles, sacrifices, we can sit here and have a president of the United States. I mean, I never thought that that would happen in my lifetime. So I think it's important for these movies that come out that show the real. I mean, let me tell you something. 12 Years a Slave, that movie. I mean, not 12 Years a Slave, because even 12 Years a Slave lets the dominant culture off the hook a little bit when it has the Brad Pitt character rescue. But in Birth of a Nation, nobody is left off the hook, and they're all responsible. And from that, you have a man who said no, who realized that the religion that was being taught to us is really a form of brainwashing. And that if we really understood it, then we would uprise. And to me, that's so important, man. It is so important. So I literally, during Birth of a Nation, went into the lobby for a minute because I was like, I can't take it. I did the same thing with Amistad when they was just throwing people off the ships because they needed to lighten their load. Right. I had to go out into the hall because I couldn't take it, because my heart couldn't take it, but I need to see them films. Because I need to know what I'm struggling for, what I'm fighting for, what I'm trying to inspire young minds for, what I'm trying to do, because we have a system in our country right now, and in more than at any time, that is gunning for us. It's gunning for us in all kinds of ways imagining. The prison system, privatizing the prison systems, American companies coming back into the company and going, yes, we're going to build products that are made in America. Yes, yes, yes. Well, the only reason why they're coming back here is that they can go into the prison system and get someone to sew a Nike shirt or a Victoria's Secret lingerie for literally 15 cents an hour, right, as opposed to 30 cents an hour in Malaysia. Right. They're getting them from prisons. Mm-hmm. So we need to know these things. We need to understand that again, like our sense of purpose. And also, and I'll say this, it's important for us to know that off the backs of us, this country is strong. We built it. We made it the superpower that it already is. And it's continuing to figure out ways to continue to enslave us. And if we don't know our history, then we're going to be bound to repeat it.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is an example of why Aaron Braxton is one of my favorite actors, bar none. I've had the pleasure of going to see your live performances. I've seen you on film. I've been to a movie of yours. And I haven't told you this, but because I didn't want your head to get big, but you're one of my favorite actors.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Speaking of favorite actors, and we talked earlier about this, there's a new wave in Hollywood, and we're going to touch on this because I know you're very passionate about this. But they're bringing in foreign actors to play our American icons. Yeah. Martin Luther King, for one. You name it, they're bringing foreign actors in to play American black roles that aren't going to American blacks. These guys are pretty good, but to have an American experience that you're portraying, you have to have some of it in your soul.
Right.
Whether you have to live it, whether you have to pal around with it like Denzel Washington did with Frank Lucas, whether you have to absorb it into your system. What do you think about the new British or foreign or European wave of actors taking what should be African American roles?
Well, firstly, I want to say shout out to Samuel Jackson, because Samuel Jackson is the only person of note, only actor of note that I know of, and there may be more, but that I know of, that is really giving a voice to African American actors out there, because nobody's really talking about this. There are a lot of foreign African actors that are coming into this industry, whereas we as African Americans, we fought so hard to establish a sense of place in this industry, and yet now these iconic parts, the Martin Luther Kings, even in 12 Years a Slave, there all of these, and on television, you see a lot of like British actors that are coming in, and they give the industry gives these excuses of, well, it's because they're better trained. Nah, they're not. Just because you need to tell me how a classically trained actor translates to television. As far as show me that. Show me. You're not better trained. I went to one of the best acting schools in the country, in the Beverly Hills Playhouse. You can't tell me that they're better trained. I think what it is that they're infatuated with their accents, and they're impressed at the fact that they can do a really great American accent, which, okay, I get that, but you also have to realize that they're influenced by American cinema. So if this industry were influenced by British cinema, you better believe that we'd all speak and we'd all have a great British accent as well. Although I can do a British accent, but we don't have a British accent. But this is the thing. I was watching a movie called Loving, and the lead actress, I did not know that she was British. I thought she was an African American actress, and I'm watching this, and I'm like, why can't I'm not connecting with her? Why am I not connecting? And it wasn't until her talk back that I realized that she opened her mouth, and I was like, oh, she's British. And then I realized that's why I wasn't connecting, because she had a scene where she's supposed to have a close relationship with her father. And African American women who have close relationships with their father, there's a bond there. My sister had a close relationship with my dad at one time, and they love their fathers. Like, if you get a dad who has a daughter who's in that daughter's life, that's a bond. Right. And she gets out of prison, and she just kind of nonchalantly hugs him. And I was like, that's weird. Like, no African American woman, your dad just rescued you. Your dad just was your hero, got you out of the clutches of these white men who were trying to keep you in prison in your gown in a cold, without a blanket. Right. Like, come on now, you got to give him more than that. And when she said, hey, I'm British, I went, that's it. That was a very European way. And then when the commentator said to her, well, why did you really think that it was important for you to understand the African American experience? And she said, no, that it was really important for me to play the emotions of the scene. I said, that's where you were wrong. That's where your mode of thinking was wrong. It was very important for you to understand our struggles. Slavery ended here 50 years after Britain. There's a mentality of slavery that was in this country that was way different than there was one town, which is why we celebrate this Juneteenth, which I never understood. But them white folks there kept their slaves in slavery an extra year and didn't tell them that they was free. Right. And we celebrate that, which I don't understand. Right. But that's the mentality of slavery here. It was way more brutal and way different. So you have to know, and the fact that we went through the civil rights movement and all of these, we set a precedent and a tone for South Africa, for all these other places to follow. It was what you needed to understand our struggle. You needed to get to in order to really do that part justice. I think, so I don't know. It's this trend now, and I preface this by saying I have a lot. Well, I can't preface it because I already said it. But anyway, I have friends that are British actors, African British actors, and so this is nothing against them, and because they're coming over here because there's no work for them in Britain, so. Part of me goes, well, why don't you do the same thing that we did here and struggle for more work in Britain and start to do and petition and do what you need to do with your union in order to get more work there. But at the same time, I do get it. I understand. But as an African American, I'm like, oh my God, that person's British, that person's British, this person's British. You got a movie like Selma where you got four the lead actors that are British. You mean to tell me you can't find not one qualified, talented African American actor who will show up on time and get the work done? You can't tell me you got to keep going out and finding these British actors. It's one thing if you're just playing a generic African American part where you are the captain of a starship or you're this, but it's another thing to play our iconic parts. We don't get a chance to do that often, and when we struggle in this industry to open doors for ourselves and then you give it to somebody else, it's like a slap in our face. And I appreciate Samuel Jackson for speaking up on that.
Oh, that's beautiful. That is a handful. That's going to resonate to whoever watches this interview. And we're going to take a break right now. This is Ira Tillman. It's the Ira Tillman Show. We're here today with Aaron Braxton, and he's given us a handful to think about. He's got some very progressive works that he's written, and we're going to get into those websites where you can order. But I want to ask you one question. I've always wanted to ask you this. You're acting. I want two iconic roles that you would love to play for yourself. Historical, you do have a good sense of impersonation, just like Jamie Foxx was probably born to play Ray. Mm-hmm. What do you point for? What would be an avenue for you?
Interesting that you said that, because I was thinking about writing a one-person show on Frederick Douglass, especially because he was also an orator. He was someone who his speeches are very compelling, his writing is very compelling, and we have some similarities in that way. I like to speak, I like to talk, and I like to talk about social issues and do social commentary, and I think it's important. And so he's someone who I want to research more, because I just know a little the superficial stuff, and I actually put a picture of him in my phone, so that, and I said, if I had the wig, put the wig on, I think I could look like him too. I think I could look like him. But it's interesting that you asked that question, because that it's only a couple of days ago that I said, you know what, we as a people don't really know a lot about him. We know the name, we recognize the picture, but we don't. I ain't even gonna say we. I'm gonna say I don't know a lot more than that. I don't know if he was married, how many kids he had. I just know that he was very influential. And so I put a picture in my phone. That's where I put all of my ideas and things that I want to do. I put that in my phone. That is someone who I wanted to at least explore doing a one-person show. Another, I wanted to also explore, and this may not be someone individual, but I wanted to explore African Americans captured during the Nazi regime. We don't know, we think that there were just Jews and gypsies, that were a part of the Holocaust. We don't know that they were also people of color. In fact, I just, in doing my little research, found out that one of the editors of Ebony magazine, or I forgot exactly, but one of the original editors or publisher, one of them was a Holocaust survivor, and he was black. He was black, and so I wanted to also write about something like that before somebody else does. Now that I put it out there, I need to get it done for somebody else. I know, for somebody else pick it up and do it. But those are two subject matters that I want to explore.
That's deep, because I was going for, Sam Cooke, or I thought you might want to throw maybe Otis Redding out there. Or something,
you know what? That's funny that you say that, because my mom said Otis Redding, and she sent me an album that I got over there to check out some of his music. She's like, "You can sing. You don't sing enough." That's what my mom is always saying. And so that's funny that you mentioned that. I haven't listened to the album yet, but she sent me an Otis Redding album for me to listen to maybe do a one-person show or something like that. So that's interesting. You put that seed back into my head.
Well, they're discussing starting to do the black icons. I know they have a Richard Pryor script going around Hollywood. It's been written and rewritten, and there's probably some legal wranglings that are going on there. But I think Mike Epps were originally slated to in the discussion.
Perfect. He would have been perfect. I don't know what happened.
And maybe it's some legalities that we know nothing about.
Yeah.
But I would like to see some of our icons, and I'm talking about 60s and 70s. I think Flip Wilson would be a movie to watch. But, it's about the dollar. Mm-hmm. Black subjects to Hollywood don't make the type of money that they would like to make. I don't understand why Ice Cube movies are so.
Well, you know what? This is interesting. This is what's very interesting. You have a movie like The Equalizer, starring Denzel Washington, and you have this movie made hundreds of millions of dollars, and yet an industry that just says that's still not enough. We probably could have made more had we put a white actor in that part. It's I want to say if Hollywood stopped looking at the old convoluted model of films and how to market films, then they would see that our movies make money. Look at Get Out. The thing is that they go, well, they'll make money domestically, but they don't make money internationally. That's because you don't market us internationally. If you gave us those films the same due diligence, they would make money. People are so interested in our culture. They dress like us. They sing like us. They dance like us. You can't tell me that our films, if done well, because people are just hungry for a good story. If they're done well, they don't make money. They make money. It's just that they don't market them and then go, there's this double entendre. Well, they don't market them so that they don't make money. So then they don't want to do them because they don't make money. Well, they'll make money if you market them. And Denzel's movie is a great example. Get Out is a great example of this film that was made for a very low budget that's made hundreds of millions of dollars. Why? Because you saw them market that film just like they market any other film. And so by doing that, people can't go to anything that they don't know that it exists.
Okay, so Aaron Braxton, this has been one of my most interesting days doing this show. You have several books. One is called Going Solo, which this is my signed copy, and I can't wait to read through it. This is going to teach me how to grab an open mic and start, I guess, expounding to the audience about what it is that's on my mind. I would like to do a stand-up, an attempt at it. Maybe I'll like it. Who knows? But this book may pave the way for me. And Jesse, we have Jesse and the Caterpillar Who Got Its Wings. That's on its way. It's finished, but you're still editing.
Yeah, still in the editing process. It should come out probably hope before Thanksgiving. Let's put it that way. So I was going to say by November 15th, but I'm going to at least say before Thanksgiving, so you can pick it up. You can buy it for yourself or your kids for Christmas, and it's something that will inspire you and touch you, and it's going to be a good read.
This is Ira Tillman with Aaron Braxton, and you're going to tell us how to get in touch with you and how to locate your publications.
Okay, well, my books you can find online at Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, all the major booksellers online. You can go into your major bookstores and order the book. If they don't have it, tell them to order it. It's in their catalog. They can order it, have it to you in a couple of days. I can be reached at AaronBraxton.net. I got to update my website a little bit, but it's but from there you can is my email, my contact information. So if you want to just give me a shout out, you can shout out me there. You can shout out me on Facebook. I have a Jesse page. There's a Going Solo page. You can shout out me, friend me on Facebook. I do have an Instagram. I don't quite use it as much as I should. I do have a Twitter account. I'm going to start using that one a little bit more. But Facebook and my website is probably the best way to get in contact with me. Other than that, again, Jesse will be out probably before Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Aaron. That's it for today for the Ira Tillman Show. Here with actor, director, writer extraordinaire, Aaron Braxton, and his book is Going Solo. And his upcoming release is going to be Jesse, the caterpillar that's found its wings, who got its wings.
Yep.
Okay, Jesse, the caterpillar who got its wings. That's his next book. It'll be out before Thanksgiving, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's it for today.